This is Tyler Keister. Tyler Keister, a 2006 graduate of a college preparatory school, loved his family, his friends, and his puppy, Teddy Bear.
Tyler had a promising future. He was a star football player, a young man with dreams of becoming a banker.
But weaved throughout his successes, Tyler so desperately fought an addiction to opiates, an addiction that would shatter his dreams, break the hearts of everyone who knew him. Just days after injecting heroin, December 23rd, 2012, Tyler took his last breath.
Well, we are honored to have Tyler's father with us, Don Keister, who is also the founder of Attack Addiction. Thank you for being here this afternoon.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
This is never an easy conversation to have, but it's an important one. Definitely. You say that it all started when Tyler experimented with alcohol and marijuana.
That is the beginning. That's the first day. That's how things get started. I think in his case, he, in addition, with some wisdom teeth that were removed and some opioids that were given to him by the doctor, I think also added to the pot, the alcohol that contributed to him getting involved.
He was very involved in school. He was named the Homecoming Prince.
He was active at homecoming, yes.
Yeah.
He was active in a number of things. They won a state championship football game in 2005, and he was on a track team. He was well liked and was very involved with activities at school.
Now, when Tyler started having the addiction, he was very open with you and his mom when he had a relapse. As a parent, what is that like?
It is heartbreaking to see them in the throes of this, not knowing what to do. They really hate themselves for what they're doing to the people that love them and are helping him, and it's so hard to see. He would tell it. We would find out almost immediately when he would relapse and get back into using again, and then he'd work to try and fight through and defeat this epidemic that we have here in Delaware and throughout the country.
We know this is tough. Thank you for sharing this story very much. A lot of parents fear for their children and getting involved with this. What would you tell them?
I would tell them that they have to believe that their child is being exposed to it, and that they need to take whatever steps they can, and there's lots of things that they can do. Many times I'll go out and speak to, or people will speak with parent groups, and very few arrive, very few show up. I think they believe that, oh, it's alcohol, it's a little pot, and that's okay. It's not okay, and it leads into a lot of other things, and that's where they need to try to take some steps. Chris Herron says, I would go in and ask them why. Why are you doing this? Why can't you be yourself on a Friday night or Saturday night? Why do you have to be changed by a chemical?
Well, that's a good one,
yeah.
So, I mean, and a lot of times parents don't know that the alcohol and the pot and all that's happening. Are there any signs that we should be looking for?
Well, there are signs. Friends is one thing. How they react to family issues, how they react to school and homework. Sometimes it will take up to 2 years to know that a child is actually involved with this. So it needs to be done in a manner that you keep a close eye, constantly talk about it, and when you have that opportunity, make sure they understand how dangerous and serious it really can be.
So tell us about Attack Addiction.
Well, I thought that name up on a treadmill because it has Tyler's initials in the word attack. So, so we capitalized the T, the A, and the K, and we thought that would kind of bring his life into what we're trying to do. I mean, when something happens to your child, you really try to find a meaning into it. I have worked in schools for all my life, and I felt like word needed to get out to students, to people, that what this epidemic is like, what it happens and how it affects families, and what they need to do. And so that's really what I started to do, to speak at schools. We've expanded into a number of other things. Currently we have 4 sober living houses, 3 for women, 1 for men. We work in Dover. We have a lot of our board members and other people will go to Dover and try to get laws passed and laws worked on. We just most recently, Dave Humes worked on the naloxone opioid impact fee, which is now state. It would have been the first state in the union to have it. I think there was a state in the Midwest that jumped in right ahead of us before ours got signed. We've been very supported by administrations and folks in Dover, and feel like we need to work with them. It takes a lot of people working together to try to overcome this this disease.
So what do you think Tyler would think of all of this, all that you've done?
He would want to be a part of it.
Yeah.
I think from the very beginning he wanted to fight this, get through it, so that he could help others. And I notice with people that are in recovery, they are so anxious to help others. I say all the time, Tyler, look what you got me into. I mean, this has been a complete why for me, as far as, and the family and other board members, as to what we need to do and why we're doing it. And he got me into this mess, and but I think he would be like to be very involved, and I think he'd be very excited to meet the new friends and the new fellows and people that we've met while we've been on our journey.
He'd be right there too.
Yeah, he'd be there.
Don Keister, thank you so much
Oh, my pleasure.
for coming in.
Thank you very much.
Delmarva Life, we'll be right back.